Today, we want to talk to you about some of those idiots online that post anonymously in various forums, etc., etc. And this is a topic that we've discussed before, but because there's just so much ignorance and so much bigotry, so much just lack of intelligence from some members in these types of forums, not all. It's so important to talk about this. In case you have never watched any of these episodes, my name is Behrouz Moemeni. I'm the CEO and founder here at BMO. I'm joined with our content manager, Zhenya. And this is the admissions expert one question podcast. And today we want to talk about how you should not base your future on a few idiots, or how to diagnose who's an idiot, who is not, because there's some people who are intelligent. It's very important for you to not generalize one way or another, but how can you diagnose who are the idiots, how to figure them out? Let's go through some of these. So for example, there's a lot of idiots that just post random hateful nonsense about any topic. So you could go on any online forum, search a topic. It could be like, I don't know, cats. Some idiot says, I hate cats, we should kill them all. Like, there's always somebody with an extreme stupid thing. Why? Because when you're in a forum anonymously, the real person comes out, and you'll be surprised why so many of these real people are just like, oh my God, I hope I never actually meet you in real life. Or if I meet you in real life, I hope you're not anonymous, because wow, the level of intelligence you have is just like, wow. Zhenya, you have some thoughts before I go into give some specific examples of like some stupid stuff I've read. I've had others point out to me. It's just laughable, but also sad at the same time. Mostly sad.
Yes, I, forums are an interesting thing. Of course, we're very reliable on them nowadays. A lot of people ask for advice from, yeah, what kind of cat to get, or to what kind of moving company to use and whatnot.
Why not?
And
Hold on. Why not ask a friend? Why don't you call ask your parents, ask your family, ask a friend. Why a random
that
forum?
is
You're
a
gonna
very
make
good
decisions.
question. I think there are many reasons for that. Specifically, a lot of people find comfort in these kinds of communities, right?
The
Um,
wrong type of comfort.
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps, and sometimes misguided. Of course, sometimes people, of course, say that they've found friends, and that's wonderful. That's great. But my only view of that is exactly what you mentioned already. Why not friends or family, or to be honest, Google? As much as I'm not trying to promote Google, but of course you can see Google reviews for something, right? Like you can research anything basically, from a company's profile to their reputation to whatnot. Like, or if you're looking for that, cat type, you can find everything you need to know about it. So I think majority of people go to forums, yes, for that community, and we'll discuss whether that's good or bad in a second. But one thing for sure is that anonymity is definitely suspicious in my opinion, that people are usually anonymous, or at least not fully themselves, right? They're not accountable for what they say online. And I think we'll go into the examples of that and how dangerous that can be. But yes, that's something I would definitely pay attention to.
Yeah, again, I don't want to take a black and white view on this, as much as my opinion is made. Uh, there is definitely some advantages. Yes, that sense of community, that desire to belong, especially if someone is an introvert, doesn't have
Yeah.
friends. Again, of course, I recommend that we could do that in a physical world, in the real world with real friends. But I could see there could be circumstances where that could be beneficial for sure. That becomes now then having the intelligence to figure out, by the way, here's the really cool thing, and I don't know the real stats about this,
Mhm.
but the majority of forum users are not actual active users. About only 10 to 20% are active users. Others are audience, just like any other
Yes.
sport or
Mhm.
activity. There's the participants, a few people, the audience.
Yes.
So if you're a participant, you have to be careful in a certain way. If you're an audience, you have to be careful in a certain way, because you don't know the person is posting what is their agenda. They're trying to use this platform to change your opinion about one thing or another, or seed an idea in your head that may be good or bad. So you have to have a way to verify things. So for example, I'll go into a specific one. Like somebody said, oh, BMO is a scam. Like, you must be an absolute complete moron to think BMO is a scam after us doing this for, almost 10 years, having helped tens of thousands of students. We have almost five, at the time of recording this, we have almost 5,000 third party verified reviews from actual students, 99% satisfied. Yes, we're not perfect. 99, and you still think this is a scam? You must be a complete moron. Or you're a loser who is competing with us, and it's just like, that's your way of competing instead of making your products and services better. That's what I always recommend for our team. We don't even pay attention to competitors because it doesn't matter. What are we doing for our students? That's what matters. How can we do it better? I suggest you do the same as well if that's you. Uh, or you just have a very poor way of making conclusions. How did you go from like, oh, these guys have, BMO has more verified reviews than all universities combined. Name one university that has as much reviews as BMO. Like, it blows my mind when somebody makes a comment or questions even. It's like saying, is the sky blue? And then people commenting, no, this is not blue. Okay, then it's not blue. And then you say, okay, it's not blue. Then I don't know what to say to that. Like, okay, so I'll give you another example. There was somebody in one of those forums, I don't know what it was, and they were making fun of DOs versus MDs. And the person making fun of DOs allegedly claimed, or I said that they were an MD themselves. I'm like, again, like, really, you went to become an MD just to go on an online forum to do this, and you don't have the intelligence to understand that every role in society has its role. That's why it exists. It's just ridiculous. I just, it's like some of these things are just ridiculous. I don't know if you've seen any ridiculous examples, Zhenya, but
I would say that this MD versus DO debate, of course, is reminds me of something that I have read many times on forums, and I would want to warn people about this. This concerns the pre-med community. Of course, a lot of pre-meds, they gather in these forums because they want support. They want to share kind of like what's been going on with their applications, right? What kind of experiences they're getting, what kind of grades they're getting, what kind of MCAT they're getting. And there's always a person that says, you'll never get in with these stats. You'll never get in with these experiences. You'll never A, B, C, D. So essentially someone there to troll and discourage people from pursuing their, career agenda, instead of saying, you know what, I've heard this university does A, B, C, D, like you should look for this experience too. It's not as supportive community, as in, not, of course, as Behrouz said, it's not all that black and white, but there's always that person who, instead of giving constructive advice, or maybe, speaking from experience and just saying, well, in my experience, this worked, but you do you. No, it's always, you'll never get in, your grades are too low, your MCAT score is poor. Like, this is the forums can be, on the one hand, as we discussed, a community, but also an incredibly discouraging community for some. So I would say to people who share their experiences and their journey to, whether it's medical school, law school, whatever you're pursuing, don't listen to those people. Again, they're anonymous. Who knows who they are? Like, maybe they've literally never applied to anything and they're just bitter.
Exactly.
So remember that these, you came to this forum with good intentions, maybe, and you want to share and you want to give advice and you want to support, but in reality, many people don't. Many people come there to troll, to discourage, and to show their bitterness off. So I
Because
would
they're
definitely
cowards.
watch out for that.
Cowards.
Yeah, yeah.
Cowards do like to do this kind of stuff anonymously because they know in the real world they wouldn't have the guts to do that. They would not. They're cowards. So, so essentially, there is like some other like arguments. Like, for example, they say, "Oh, like this company charges money, so it must be a scam." Aren't you going to be a doctor who's gonna charge people at their most vulnerable times of their life? That's cool, but some other company charges it. Like, that's such a nonsense argument to make. Two, if you're so good, why don't you gather a full company of volunteers who are not gonna want any sort of payment and are willing to work full time as a volunteer? I don't know where they got the money from, by the way, to begin with, to do this stuff that you think, like, there's such nonsense stuff on this on these forums sometimes that, like, to the extreme. But it's I'm always cool with extreme because it opens the eyes on how people are thinking, but not when it's not based on logic, just like common sense. The argument that, oh, this is free, this must be good, this is paid, it must be bad. Like, what kind of a logic studies says that has this sort of a if then? Even a 3-year-old will understand this is not logic. Good or bad is good or bad. This has nothing to do with, like, oh, if I have to pay. What is free, actually? Like, we had another podcast where we discussed there's nothing free. If it's free, that means somebody else has paid for it. There's no such thing as free. Even forums themselves are not free. They charge advertisers so they could operate. Nonprofit organizations are not free. They get funds from the government, taxpayers, and other companies. There is nothing free. So again, this logic, faulty logic of people. And then the idea is, like, you have to be very careful not to fall into just dumb logic some of these idiots have on these online forums. That's what I would say.
Yes, and I think to remember that a lot of people go online to air their grievances, if you will. Always kind of be vigilant about the purpose behind posting something, right? Some people are looking for help, some people are sharing advice, but some people are there really, really to just, sorry, but bitch. Just an outlet for their anger, unsatisfaction, even if it's non-logical, as you mentioned, Behrouz. That's just the fact of it.
It is true, but you have to think about it, like, how sad could someone be? When this happens, I usually be like, you have to empathize with that person. How sad should their life be that they have to do this so that they have a reason to live, essentially?
Maybe looking for validation again, just looking for audience.
But yeah, that's why, guys, you're intelligent. That's why you're consuming content like this, you're trying to educate yourself. The idea was to be careful, and I gave you some examples of how the logic just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And we hope this gives you some idea of how to deal with this. And also, if you're a sort of a regular user of an online forum, we'd love to have you on one of the episodes. Of course, you could remain anonymous, like you maintain your you don't have to tell us what your username is, obviously, but we're more than happy to have you on another show to see if there is some parts of the debate we're missing. We try to give the pros and cons. There's definitely not black and white, but it'll be cool to have somebody who is an advocate user, and hopefully you're not one of the ones that says everything's black and white and everything's scam. Like, if that's the kind of person, no, please don't even contact us. We don't want to talk to you. There's nothing to talk about. But if you're like, you use it normally, like you're a normal person, but you use it, find value out of it, I'm sure there's some people that do. We'll be more than happy to have a chat to see if there's some things we're missing, or at the very least, it will be a good, cool, civilized debate that is not behind a anonymous keyboard situation. Keyboard warrior, as they say. So this way we could have a warrior situation face to face, and then we'll take it from there. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I think again, we don't want to make it black and white. Of course, we know that people do use the forums and find solace and community and friendships. I think you just have to remain vigilant in terms of looking for life advice, career advice, and so on from these forums. I think that would be my only final thought.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for watching or listening to another episode of the Admission Expert One Question podcast. If you like this, share with a friend who may enjoy it as well. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.